Today we have Anthony Salvatore Luciano Raimondi, aka Anthony Shades, aka Anthony Cigars, aka the Leg Breaker.
I'm looking at him. You gotta get rid of who? You gotta get rid of the Pope. Now, I have to go with him for two reasons. One is to tell them how to put him away nicely without using violence. So I said, what me? He goes, well, you were in Nam. I said, yeah, but in Nam I killed him with guns and stuff. He goes, no, but okay, I gotta tell you how to do it very peacefully. Okay. I'm outside. The guy tried to hit me. He says, Frankie, they're on your property. Yeah, don't worry about it. The guy died, I think, about 2 months later. Two detectives come walking in. They arrest me for the murder of Salvatore Granello. That was all bull. I'll take a lie detector test to it, and I can tell you what I'm saying, and none of them ever got in touch with me.
From being an enforcer in the Colombo Crime Family to killing over 300 people in Vietnam and has the tattoos to prove it, Anthony Raimondi is one of the many Mafia YouTubers coming out in recent years telling their side of the story. And like many of these mafiosos, some of the stories seem almost too good to be true, with the internet also weighing in on these so-called gangsters, with one comment stating, "Every mob YouTuber is full of shit, but what baffles me about this clown is that he came out of nowhere. Alite, Sammy, and Franzese all lie, but at least we're sort of known. They have a foundation in which they can build on. Raimondi is a straight-up actor." For example, Anthony Raimondi claims to have been the mastermind who killed Pope John Paul I, and was even part of the Lufthansa Heist that was featured in the movie Goodfellas. He's literally done it all. Just ask him. Really though, who is this legend that bears a striking resemblance to Ray Charles? Like Mr. Gianni Russo's fables, I quickly needed to find out the truth to these outlandish stories. This video will explore the many lies of Anthony Raimondi. Chapter 1. The First Hit. This man's story is complex, so I'll try and break it down as best as possible because, well, the records of his claims are very hard to find. Nonetheless, let's examine these make-believe fables. So let's take it back to the age of 16 to the start of his first whacking in.
Never end a sentence with a preposition.
Ah, shit, sorry. Let's take it back to the age of 16 to the start of his first whacking.
That's better.
As I listened to his story on the Vlad interview, I quickly came across many flaws down to the weapon he used on the hit of Salvatore Sally Burns Granello.
So Joey D, I go and see him. We were the same age. And he says, what's doing? When I told him, he goes, I heard about what happened yesterday. I said, listen, Joe, I want to get a gun. I'm going to go see this guy, but I want it just to scare him. My honest opinion was I thought I was going to scare him. He says, pick out, and they gave me a 380 Beretta. I was hitting bullseyes left and right. I never fired a gun.
Tony alleges that he used a 380 Beretta to kill Sally Burns, and I'm almost thinking it was the Beretta Cheetah model that fires 13 rounds, to which, remember, if he was 16 this would have placed him a little before or around 1970, but the Beretta he's talking about wasn't manufactured until 1976. The killing of Sally Burns is still left unsolved, but the official FBI report would state that Granello was slated to be hit because he was bad-mouthing Tommy Eboli, and was making claims that he intended to find out who was responsible for the assassination of his son Michael. Raimondi would insist that the hit was due over a dispute over the two, causing Raimondi to completely blast Granello's face off with how many rounds? That's right, folks, 13. And it is for this reason his lawyers cut a deal with the DA's office, where he was ultimately given the choice of which military branch to enlist in, and ended up joining the Vietnam War. Chapter 2. The American Sniper. For this claim, let's examine Anthony's theories of being in the Vietnam War, which has the internet really bugging out with comments on the Mafia subreddit stating, all you need to know that he's full of shit is the following. He claims to be a Marine. He has a Special Forces tattoo. United States Marine Corps didn't have a true Special Forces unit until 2006. Another comment stating, Anthony Raimondi is literally a citizen that has a mental disorder who has convinced the world that he is a gangster. He is a circus act. He literally owned a cigar shop on Coney Island. He is a nobody. Raimondi alleges he whacked over 300 people in the Vietnam War as a sniper, and even had the Green Beret tattoos to prove it. But the Marine who actually holds the record for most sniper kills in Vietnam went by the name of Charles Chuck Mahoney, who averaged 4 kills per week of combat duty in Vietnam, ultimately accumulating a body count of 103 dead, a record unmatched in the annals of Marine history. The Cigar Man himself seems to hold no military record as far as I can find, and his tattoos seem to represent the Army Special Forces. Tony Cigars, I think this story is bullshit. Chapter 3. The Pope Gets Whacked. And not by the altar boys, ladies and gentlemen. According to Raimondi, he whacked the Pope off himself. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Pope John Paul I, whose death was ruled as a heart attack, was whacked off by Anthony Raimondi.
This is what you do. Either get ketamine or Valium, put it in his tea, because he likes his tea real sweet. Once he goes to sleep, you get potassium cyanide in a glass bottle. The guy who brings the tea and everything goes to check on the Pope. Half hour later, ringing the bell, there's something wrong with the Pope, something wrong with the Pope.
He states that he poisoned the Catholic Don, but through various investigations, the Pope legit had a heart attack, to which the only speculations about his death have to do with the people who actually found him first. Mr. Raimondi, why would the mob hire you to kill the Pope if you can barely see out of your stunner shades?
I'm going to change the subject if that's all right with you.
Okay!
And why weren't you comfortable enough to spill the beans about the Pope on the Vlad interview, when you did it on a much smaller podcast?
And they're writing a script to do a scripted series. If I speak to you about that and give you an exclusive on it, it blows my whole contract.
Jesus Christ, Tony, you've done it all. Just ask him. Chapter 4. The Lufthansa Heist.
Good evening. December 11th may go down as the day of the biggest robbery in our country's history, and it happened right here in New York. Somewhere between $3 and $5 million in cash and valuables was taken from the Lufthansa cargo terminal out at Kennedy Airport. And the law enforcement officers say that it was carried off with such precision and such daring, you almost have to consider it an inside job.
Remember the heist Henry Hill talked about in the movie Goodfellas? If you forgot the heist that's being mentioned in this chapter, the Lufthansa heist was... I can't say that name. The Lufthansa heist was the most The Lufthansa heist was the most infamous caper in U.S. history. At John F. Kennedy International Airport, associates of New York City's Lucchese crime family netted nearly $6 million, or $22.5 million today, in cash and jewels. Almost none of the take was recovered, and only one person served time. The mastermind of this robbery? Well, it is well documented that Jimmy the Gent Burke orchestrated the event and would eventually whack everyone involved with the heist. But what does Anthony Raimondi have to say about all this?
That movie was more bull than anything else, please. I love it when they make these movies and there's more garbage than anything else.
Exactly. I have no fucking idea what this man is rambling about, and seems to just name drop people that he himself may not even know. Chapter 5. The Truth About Raimondi. If you stuck around till the end of this video, you get a cookie from me. So what's the truth about this Raimondi fella? Here's what I think. The man wants book sales or literal views on YouTube, just like Gianni Russo and maybe like some of our favorite Mafia YouTubers. Through some digging, it seems that he worked as a carny in a carnival and had himself a cigar shop called Gangster Cigars. And through some further digging, I couldn't even find any military records on the man. And he even claims that he was shot 3 times.
Yeah, once in the side here, once here, and once in the leg.
Situation over Saturday Night Fever, the start of the Colombo War, and another time.
Excuse me?
There was a third time as well? What was the third time about?
Third time was I got shot in the leg. I got shot through the leg from my car. A guy came, thought he was going to make a name for himself. So I go reach out my hand like this. He puts his hand in, he shoots me. I stepped on the gas pedal and took off. The bullet went in here.
I think I found the article about this event in 2020. I'll leave you with the first paragraph of the story. A Brooklyn, New York man is facing charges after a handgun stashed inside his pants pocket accidentally fired and shot him in the leg at a township home.